Hey, welcome to Sales Made Easy. This is the place we're going to come every week to hopefully make your life a little easier if you have anything to do with customer interfacing. So, obviously, you can get a hold of me at my email address, which is tom@salesmadeeasy, and probably a few other things that we're going to be doing as we're doing this weekly podcast for you. So, hey, today I thought would be interesting as we talked about something near and dear to almost every salesperson's heart, and that is closing. As a young salesperson myself, that was the death of me. Closing. I had this need to be liked. So when I closed you, if you said no, that meant you said no to me. And it was devastating to me. Someone would say no, because it was like a hit to me. I did something wrong. I failed. When I really found out that maybe they just didn't have a need at that time, or maybe it just wasn't the right product or usage or something. And I never went to fail that out. I always took that as a hit to me. And so I bought every book you wanted to buy on closing the sale. Well, I went to so many seminars on closing the sale. I learned all the different the puppy dog sale. Remember the puppy dog sale? You stick around long enough to go, oh, he's kind of cute. Let's just keep him. The appending event close. Well, I remember that one. That had to happen at like the end of the week or at the end of the month. Remember and I didn't even know there was a name to this thing. And I said it to somebody. It was the end of the month, and they said, well, they want to think about it. And I go, oh, it's the end of the month. Prices might go up at the end of the month, after the first of the month. And the guy said to me one time, says, isn't that called the impending event close? I didn't even know there was a name to the thing, right? This guy knew more about sales than I did. He read the book, 101 Ways to Close a Sale. So closing sales has always been one of those parts of one of the two parts of the sales process that hurt everybody, right? The first part to me of the sales process that was always tough, and I think still is today, is prospecting. And we're going to do a session on prospecting and all the different areas of prospecting. But if you think about it, prospecting is the tough part. Getting people to give you enough time a day, creating enough interest, they give you enough time to have a conversation with them. So those are the toughest parts. Let's talk about closing. What makes closing easier? And my thought is, I'd really talk about the 5 ways to make closing easier. And so there's a difference then, instead of 5 ways to close, 5 ways to make closing easier. And I take it to a whole nother level, is 5 ways not to have to close. I hate that word close. Closing the sale, that makes you a salesperson. And to me, you're a consultant. If you're in the business of helping other people become more productive, become more efficient, to be helping people run their businesses better, then you're not a salesperson. My belief has always been a salesperson that's selling me something is a person that's trying to get me to buy something I really don't want. My belief is you're a consultant. You're a trusted advisor. That's really what you are. You're someone, I need advice, and I trust you, and so I'll take your advice. And that advice might be, don't buy your product. So some easy ways to close the sale. The first easy way to close the sale, I'm going to write it up here on the board because I love writing. The first one, we'll go with number 1, is rapport. Let's just, easy to say, if I don't like you, closing is going to be tough, right? And so do you truly have rapport with someone? Because that will make closing a lot easier. But if you don't have rapport, then closing's tougher. And what do I mean by rapport? Well, rapport is not something that you get and keep. It's something you fight for every time I talk to somebody. I've been married for 45 years. I guarantee you this weekend, I will break rapport with my wife. I'll notice when I broke it, and I'm going to get it back real quick, but I broke rapport with my wife. So rapport is something that when it's strong enough, I don't have to worry about closing you. It's an easy thing. It won't fret. Yeah, I know if I have enough rapport with you and we got that equal business footing, that asking you whether you want to move forward or not, it's not a big deal. But if I don't have that with you, then closing becomes tougher. So do you have rapport with someone? And could really say, do you have enough rapport to change the relationship you have with that person? That's really what it's about. When you go from a prospect to a customer, you're basically saying, is it time for us to change our relationship? Our relationship as a prospect was, I give you information and maybe you hide some information from me. But when we become customer and provider, that's a different relationship. Now you got to be honest with me and I got to be honest with you. And we're now going to start interacting a lot differently than before. So do you have enough rapport that it's time to change the relationship? Is the person willing to change the relationship with you? So if you do, closing's going to be a lot easier, right? Second thing that makes closing a lot easier to me is, are you on the same footing? Do you have an agreement? Do you have an agreement as to why you're talking? In other words, have you had that agreement with someone that says, hey, look, it sounds like you have an issue. Maybe not, maybe you do. If I come up with a solution that might help you become more efficient, more productive, make your life easier, is there enough in there? Is there a reason for you to move forward with that? Do we ever ask that question? Hey, look, it sounds like you might have a bit of an issue. Maybe, maybe not, but I might have a solution. If we talked about it and you saw the solution wasn't a fit, you could tell me and I'll go away. But if you saw the solution was a fit and it would help you become more efficient, would you be wanting to move forward? Would we go anywhere with that, or is doing nothing an option? Do we have that agreement with people up front? Because if you don't, why are you going through all 4 or 5 meetings and quoting and everything? Third thing you have to have is you got to have qualification. And when I say qualification, I'm going to go take it to a little different level. And that is, have you monetized the reason we should be talking? Is there a reason to talk, right? Is it costing you anything? So have you qualified enough? Have you found out enough information? Is there a reason for you to do something different? See, if someone just wants to look at something new or I want to change, that's not a driver. That doesn't create urgency compared to this problem is costing me this much money. So it is tough to close me if we have not monetized the problem I have. So if you ask enough questions, and number one, taking a problem from a problem to pain, right? Where it hurts, where it costs money. Because if it's just a problem, people are not as willing to change. We all have problems, not all that necessary to change. So have you qualified it hard enough? And we're going to work on this. We're going to have a couple sessions on qualifying and monetizing the problem. Can you take it from a problem to what it cost that person and or that company? Last one, are you talking to the decision maker or the decision makers? Are you talking to the right people? Because if you're talking to the wrong people and you try to close them, all they can do is say, I'll think about it because I don't know. So those are the 4 steps. Think about it. Don't try to close unless they really like you. Don't try to close unless you have an agreement that, yeah, we're supposed to move forward. Don't try to close if you haven't taken the problem to it hurts. And don't try to close if you're not talking to the decision maker. So forget about all those books on how to close a sale. And the only close, if you get all this, the only close you have to deal with is, what should we do now? So there you have it. This is Tom at Sales Made Easy. And next week, we're going to have a guest. Someone, Jay Johnson, who has been running businesses for quite some time, lives kind of behind the models we're talking about. Can't wait to talk to you then. But don't forget, before you close a sale, do they really like you? Do you have simple agreements? Have you monetized the pain? And are you talking to the right person? And then closing is easy. All right, we'll see you next week.